I mean, you want to talk about an amazing story that's like right out of a movie. The guy was homeless, came from Africa where he worked in a sand mine, and then gets to the number one contender spot in the UFC.
Francis Ngannou has the world record for the most powerful punch. His punch is the equivalent to 96 horsepower, which is equal to getting hit by a Ford Escort going as fast as it can.
He is the deadliest competitor in the combat sports world with the most powerful punch ever recorded in human history. From hard labor in the mines of Africa, overcoming the adversities of being homeless in France, to climbing up to the top of the MMA food chain, Francis Ngannou's story is nothing but remarkable. He is the most brutal finisher in the UFC who's been knocking people out senseless. With the move to the new sport of boxing, not only did he have an incredible performance against one of the greatest boxers of today, but he shocked the boxing world in disbelief, proving the doubters wrong once again. Since this wasn't the first time the Predator surprised everyone with his supernatural strength and skills, it's time to recall the 5 times Francis Ngannou shocked the world. Number 5. Houston, we have a problem. In December 2017, the Predator was matched against Alistair Overeem, a former Strikeforce and Dream Heavyweight champion and a K1 World Grand Prix champion. Overeem wasn't just any casual competitor. He was knocking people out in kickboxing and MMA effortlessly and was considered to be one of the most decorated strikers in the UFC. His kickboxing credentials allowed him to become a top UFC contender, and keeping the fight on the feet against him was the same as trying to strangle an anaconda. Interestingly enough, Overeem approached this fight cautiously, getting Francis in a clinch position where he tried to work him and wear him down. Ngannou's strength is unreal, and he quickly reversed the position and got Alistair against the cage. They avoided the clinch position and were ready to play Russian roulette from a close range, and everyone knew that one punch is all it takes to end the show instantly. In the first exchange they had, Overeem missed with the left hook and exposed his right side in the process. The Predator countered it with a nuclear uppercut that almost sent Overeem's head to the moon, forcing the referee to jump in and save the Reem from leaving the arena on a stretcher. Knocking someone out is one thing, but doing it to the kickboxing champion of the world, who was renowned for his striking abilities, was truly unbelievable. Number 4. Cain Velasquez's pressure wrestling too much to handle? After successfully dismantling Curtis Blades for a second time, the Cameroonian fighter was matched against Cain Velasquez, who was considered one of the best MMA heavyweight fighters of all time. The conversation about heavyweight GOATs was always discussed between Cain, Fedor, and Stipe, and most UFC fans believed that Velasquez was better than all of them. Cain is a scary dude with relentless pressure on the feet, supported by superior wrestling that can neutralize any striker to his own domain. Francis was primarily a striker, and most people believe that Cain would simply implement the same strategy that Stipe did before and subdue the Predator on the ground. However, Francis had different plans that night, and despite facing arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time, he was not ready to compromise. Cain's strategy was clear, spending less time striking than roosters flying, and it was a matter of time before he closed the distance and shot for a takedown. The Predator steered his prey into an ambush and was ready to strike. Velasquez went for a takedown, but on the way in, he was intercepted by an uppercut from hell that cut his legs instantly. Ngannou unloaded a heavy cargo of bombs on his head, leaving the referee with no other choice. 26 seconds. That's all it took to absolutely brutalize one of the greatest MMA heavyweights of all time, leaving the UFC community shocked in disbelief. But if you thought this was quick, just wait till the next one. Like the video so far? Make sure to knock out that subscribe button. Number 3. The Battle of Sluggers. By snatching the souls from everyone he fought in the UFC, Francis Ngannou gained a reputation as one of the scariest knockout artists in history. Nobody was willing to stand and bang on the feet against him, except for one guy, Jairzinho Rosenstrm. The Surinamese fighter was an elite kickboxer with 85 victories in the sport, including 64 one-way tickets straight to the Dead Sea. He openly stated that he is not afraid to exchange with Ngannou, and if someone could outstrike the Predator, that could have been Rosenstrm. At the time, he was undefeated with a 10-0 record, 9 of them knockouts, coming off 2 outstanding performances against Andrei Arlovski and Alistair Overeem. When the fight started, Francis showed no fear or respect for the opponent's power. He didn't waste time with appetizers and went straight to the main course, launching a heavy artillery of bombs, knocking the opposition out in a matter of seconds. The Predator needed only 20 seconds to put Rosenstrm out cold, again showing that his striking is as deadly as a .44 Magnum shot. The shocking thing about this is that Ngannou made it look easy, as if Jorginho never fought before. The Surinamese fighter was the only one who could closely match Ngannou's striking power, and he was slaughtered within seconds. Number 2. Revenge is best served cold. After bulldozing through opposition like a tank over a car, Francis Ngannou rightfully deserved his shot at the title in a rematch against Stipe Miocic, arguably the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time. The two had already fought 3 years ago, and the Ohio native had the upper hand by utilizing his wrestling and neutralizing the Predator from implementing his deadly striking. It was time for a payback, and this time Ngannou was ready. Stipe Miocic is a complete fighter with deadly boxing and solid wrestling, so Ngannou had to do something different this time to avoid the same script from the last time. Since their initial bout was a one-sided beatdown, some people believed that Stipe was Ngannou's kryptonite, and that his wrestling would be too much for Francis to withstand. Stipe attempted a single-leg takedown, but Ngannou defended it well, reversed the position, and retaliated with fire. This shrunk Stipe's confidence as the African showed him how much he had improved in his defensive wrestling, and taking him down seemed a hard pill to swallow this time. The American had no choice but to accept the fight on the enemy's territory, the striking department. In the second round, Ngannou launched a left hook missile that dropped Stipe to the canvas. The Predator had no intention of taking prisoners and went for the kill. After another exchange, Miocic was out cold, and the referee jumped in to spare him from additional medical bills. Taking revenge against the fighter who humiliated you in the past was genuinely impressive, and Ngannou did that in the best way possible. By dismantling Stipe and Kane, two of the greatest heavyweight fighters ever, Ngannou proved to the world that his name should be right next to theirs in the GOATS list. Number 1. Time for uncharted waters of boxing. Francis Ngannou successfully defended his belt against Cyril Gane, dominating him on the judges' scores and even winning the grappling game. However, knocking people out in the UFC did not satisfy his appetite anymore, and he was ready to move to another sport to showcase his skills in boxing. Everyone knows how powerful Ngannou is, but moving to a completely different sport was a real gamble, as he had never fought in a boxing ring before. After almost a year of a layoff, it was finally announced that in his boxing debut, Ngannou would face Tyson Fury, the lineal boxing champion of the world who's considered the best heavyweight boxer today. Tyson Fury is a level above everyone in boxing, let alone fighting an MMA fighter in his own sport. We are talking about the guy who brutalized Vladimir Klitschko and ended his reign after 10 years, about the guy who sent the undefeated Deontay Wilder to oblivion 2 times. We are talking about an undefeated boxer who is arguably in the top 10 greatest heavyweight boxers of all time. Everyone believed that Fury would knock Francis out, but the question that remained was, how would he do it? Nobody doubted that this fight would go any differently, just wondering in which round Fury would put Francis out of his misery. However, after months of preparation with Mike Tyson, Ngannou was ready to show what he can really do in the new sport. He had a brilliant approach in the fight, and instead of going for one big shot, he was very composed and was outboxing Fury in some way. And then in the third round, Fury landed a 1-2 combo, and Francis retaliated with fire, knocking the champion to the canvas. The world was shocked. An MMA fighter with limited training in boxing just knocked down the greatest heavyweight boxer of today. Instead of rushing for the knockout, Francis remained composed and kept sticking to his fundamentals. In the end, the outcome of this competitive clash was decided by the judges. While Fury had landed 71 punches against Ngannou's 59, the power shots were on Francis' side, as the African fighter had 37 power punches compared to Fury's 32. But how? Everyone thought that Fury would outbox Ngannou and effortlessly win this contest. Quite the contrary. Francis gave him the hardest fight of his career. Francis isn't even a boxer. This was his first boxing fight, yet he managed to go toe-to-toe with the best in the world and outbox him in some of the rounds. In a fight that could have gone either way, Tyson Fury was declared the winner via a very close split decision victory in a battle that many thought Ngannou won. Francis Ngannou shocked the world once again and proved to anyone that he should never be underestimated regardless of what combat sport he fights at. Francis Ngannou's journey from homelessness and a sand mine in Africa to the pinnacle of combat sports is a remarkable story. He repeatedly shocked the world with his incredible power and skills, from knocking out renowned strikers like Alistair Overeem to defeating legends like Velasquez in just 26 seconds. his encounter with Jairzinho Rosenstrm and revenge against Stipe Miocic further solidified his dominance. But perhaps the most surprising twist was his venture into boxing, facing the heavyweight champion Tyson Fury and even knocking him down, though he narrowly lost by decision. Ngannou's remarkable journey serves as a reminder never to underestimate his abilities, no matter the combat sport. His story is a testament to determination and the potential for greatness in the most unlikely of circumstances. And what do you guys think? Do you believe Ngannou would be a successful boxer? Which Francis Ngannou moment do you find the most shocking? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Smash that like button and subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subs and keep the excitement going in the Octagon.